enough, 4 o'clock? I got 3:59. Good enough? Call the meeting to order. Gary Mertz is not going to be with us. I have his proxy today. Mike Houston emailed me a couple hours ago. He got called into a meeting at 3:30, so he's going to possibly be able to Zoom in later. He did not give me a proxy, so if we do vote on anything, he will just be a no vote. Remotely, we have Jan, Tom, Mary, Tammy, and Alex. And with that, we'll jump into course reports. So I'll tell you what, we'll go reverse order this time. Susan?
Okay, so I went out with
Mike?
I met with Paul and Scott out at Dogwood in Brittany. Of course, the course and the clubhouse are in excellent shape, as always. There aren't any serious issues, so we talk more about things coming up or ideas and things like that than really what's wrong. We do still, and I know we've talked about this before, root damage on the cart paths on Brittany and the crossing at Commonwealth in Brittany, which is it's really a hazard out there because the traffic coming from the left, it's a blind corner so they don't see the carts. The people coming straight at you are not looking across the road, they're looking sideways. And as the Metfield extension gets done, it's likely we'll have more bike traffic in that area too. So just something that, maybe we can do something with either extended crosswalks or better signing or something, I don't know. From an operational standpoint, that complex has already surpassed their 2020 budget in both golf and merchandise. Paul has created an emergency access sheet that has all the directions to all of the holes, and which is somebody calls in, right? And they call 911, then they first of all have to find the phone number at the golf office, or the golf department. But anyway, when they call the employee, or if a call goes to the employee, they will have the instructions of how to get to that hole. Because a lot of people don't know the back roads to the access roads. And I thought that was a really good safety idea. And then we're talking, I see we've got something on frost delay, so he was talking about that. On the maintenance opportunities, they did move the gold tees, which I noticed has happened at all the courses, and a lot of nice comments from the gold tee players, especially the first week that had happened. Now what I hear is absolutely nothing. No comments about things being on tilted lies or it's not fair or anything, just silence, which is, I think, really what the goal was. They did remove the poultry fans on number 5, which were kind of the old rattly fans. And I think he was talking about putting an oscillating fan there or something, but I'm not sure. And then they did all of the fall stuff there. They're now offering sandwiches, Chef Jerry, which are really good sandwiches, by the way. They also had the Superintendent's Revenge. I think that was in the last month, which was hysterical and very popular. And then they also did the sharing and caring right after that. And the other thing is they have started work on the Metfield bike extension right near the golf course, and it's all marked out, and they're working drainage and things right now. And what we learn is that you can make Flatland and Bella Vista, all it takes is a budget. And apparently there is one, so it's going to be good, and it looks like they're planning for something that really does help keep the balls from kind of coming onto the path. And it's going to be a beautiful walking path out there. So that was pretty much it for Dogwood. Oh, the Friends of Dogwood are going to be planting our Monarch Meadow in the next few weeks out there with Scott's help.
Good. Thanks, Susan. Sheila? Mike, microphone, into your microphone, please. Thank you. That way people out there can hear us.
My report is not in the packet. I sent it yesterday morning.
It's okay.
I'll try to remember because I didn't bring a copy of it. The pro shop is again in great shape, very clean, very well organized. Bruce said that everything is going well with regard to golf rounds. They're very, very busy. They're very up with budget, both in pro shop as well as in golf rounds. I talked with Rob at length. They had 3 very successful tournaments that both Bruce and Rob discussed with me. However, one of the groups that conducted a tournament, in order to highlight a hole on on number 2 green, they poured baking soda around the hole on the green, which burned the green. And Rob was pretty distressed about it. In contrast, Bruce didn't think that it was a serious problem. But Rob said that they're working very hard to try and save the grass to prevent the need for replacing it. Baking soda is very caustic, and I suggested in the future they might think about baby powder. The tunnel from number 8 green to number 9, or number 8 green to number 9 tee box will be resurfaced in March when they close for their 2-week maintenance period. And one of the concerns about that is that once it gets resurfaced really well, people might speed through there really fast. So I'm not exactly sure how they'll control the speed going through that tunnel, but in any event, that was one of the things that's been brought up in the last couple of months. I can't recall anything significant beyond that.
All right, thanks, that's good. Thank you. And that's okay. Your report will actually go on the website when everything's uploaded, so we're good to go.
Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you. Dave, did you have one on your own, or are you sharing with somebody? I cannot
Well, I'm
remember.
sharing with Mark, but I can,
Yeah,
for Scottsdale, we talked with Alex and Kyle on Friday, and things in the pro shop, obviously, it's been shut down for the remodeling, which should be just about complete, and should be open now, I think, in fact. Is it? Awesome. It looked good Friday. We actually played golf there on Friday afternoon, and you could see they were starting to stock it, so it looks awesome in there. So I'm sure the sales are gonna jump as soon as that gets around. Bar area is still closed, just using the window area because of the COVID. Sales of the alcohol in that has been pretty good. Daryl's got something to say here.
Actually, when we opened the pro shop on Monday, we went into checking in inside. So
Awesome.
the customer will check in inside and then walk out the bathroom way to
Okay.
the cart barn where they'll sign for a cart and then go out.
Awesome.
So it's a much better staging area, and it gets the customer in the shop. So kudos to Vaughn and the team, and we're moving forward on that. So
But the alcohol sales and so forth is still outside, correct?
alcohol will be inside with limitation to space and
Okay.
outside. So we'll start using that deck outside fully, and then inside, if you just have 2 people, you're good.
Beautiful, beautiful. The course itself in great shape. The need a little rain for the fairways, like everywhere else for that matter, but the greens are rolling fast and hard and really, really nice. So general appearance is excellent. No hazards of any kind. That's, they've been trimming and cutting, and golf carts, cleanliness. They've been continuing to use the COVID guidelines to keep those operating properly. And other than that, everything's looking good.
great, thanks.
So
Good
can
to
I-
have that
can I ask-
Scottsdale open. Yes,
yeah.
Susan?
I played out there on Sunday, and the fan in the remote bathroom on the women's side, the fan in the bathroom needs some attention, because you could tell it was on, but it wasn't spinning, and it sounded like there was a dead cat being cut up or something. I mean, there was a really screechy, squealing noise in there. So if you could have somebody take a look at that, it would be good.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Phil?
Maybe it was a dead cat in there. I didn't think I'd get caught.
It could be a squirrel.
Highlands. I cut my partner out of this month because I was in Greg's office, and he and I were talking about everything else. I said, while I'm here, let's just talk about the course report, and that was 10 days ago. Okay, merchandise for September was up about 133%. So now they're probably at annual levels. We've got some new winter apparel in the shop. Course is full. I'd say, God, most of the every day, because people start coming by my house from morning to past sundown. It's fun. Fairways and greens, obviously like everywhere else, needs water. Greg said the other day his water bill was going to be high because he's watering every day now and keeping everything green, but we desperately need water. The greens are now mowed at a summer height of .160, and they moved from that to a winter height of .148, I believe. That's in inches, I believe is correct. That should make the greens faster. I haven't noticed because I haven't played the course since he did that. The golf carts are all good, maintained well. A lot of times with a large number of people playing and run out at the end and people are waiting on carts, but that goes without saying when you have as many people playing. Fall pre-emergent has begun. Obviously everything has been aerated and trimmed and cut, and everybody complains about it, but it has to be done.
Yep.
I'm still harping on blue flags, parking too close to the green, and the people that are in the carts with the blue cart holder,
Blue flag holder, the
blue
handicap
flag
flags.
holder,
Mhm.
are also parking next to the green because they say he can, I can. That's not the way it goes. And I've been told, keep my mouth shut, don't go out there, but it's a real tempting sometime to express myself from my balcony. Outside of that, something needs to be done about the blue flags. And I'll hush.
Okay. We'll look into the blue flag, handicap flag situation.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Played Saturday, I think it was, and out at Highlands, and the aeration, I mean, the greens are starting to already come back pretty, considering how cool it is and everything. The greens are not in bad shape at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if they didn't do them deeper than normal or what, but it's not a typical aeration, it didn't seem like.
Yeah, we
Okay, gotcha. That's right. All right. Well, we'll take that. We'll take it. We'll take it. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank everybody for your reports. We will jump into staff reports. So, sorry. That's Gary, and he's not here. Or no, it's Gary or Mike, and they're not here. Yeah, Jeff is Highlands with Phil. So we'll jump into Keith. We'll let you go first this week.
Okay, I'm going to give a couple of what I consider to be positive or kind of fun things to start before I get to the last thing when I talk about carts. You're not going to like that, so we'll start out with the good and work our way down. For those of you that drive down Houston Road on a regular basis, you may have noticed over the years this little cedar tree over there on one side of the road that's decorated for every holiday. It had a COVID mask on it here recently. Now it's got Halloween. Well, the trail is going to go right over top of it, so the contractor is going to just dig it up. Well, the superintendent over there, Scott Hansen, thought that wasn't such a good idea, so he got with the contractor. We've moved it back away from the path. We hope we can keep it alive. We reached out on Facebook to see who's decorating it. We think we know who it is. They're kind of glad it's out there, and we've got 110 positive responses thereabouts, according to Kim, on Facebook for doing something right. So
Awesome.
I'm taking that.
Kudos. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Scott, that was Scott's deal. So he thought about it. He said, you know, we need some good publicity over here. There are some people don't like that trail, so let's not make it worse than it is. So that's what he did. So I commend him for that. Tomorrow morning we have our Audubon certification hurdle, last one. Their site visit. They released them out of New York. I guess it's really more Arkansas lets them come in and they don't have to quarantine when they go back to New York. But anyway, they're going to do the site visit. I don't anticipate any problem, and we will be officially certified in the Audubon corporate golf course program that Wendy's been working on for the last 4 years, we will be the second golf course in the state of Arkansas with such a certification.
Great.
So, and she did that work. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We didn't do anything hardly at all funding other than her day-to-day. She's done that work on her own by going with volunteers, getting outside help, and being very innovative. So she's done a great job and an example for the rest of the golf course as we go forward on things that we can do. The other thing is, that probably will come up, I'm just going to mention, we're working on budgets. I want everybody to know that the first run through, we put some money in for tee box work at Bella Vista Country Club, Scottsdale, and Highlands. So we'll see how far that goes. About $75,000 worth of work, which does about 3 or 4 the forward tees on each golf course, basically. And what this will do, will give you an opportunity to see what it takes to do that work, and that you need to have someone that does it on a regular basis to get it right. So this will be done with an outside contractor, except for the irrigation work, which we can do in-house. So you'll see that coming on the budget, first run through, and hopefully we get it all the way to in front of the board, and the board agrees that that's a good project to do.
Sheila has a question.
Keith, could I ask a question? When you say forward tees, do you mean red or
Red,
yellow?
I'm sorry, yes,
Okay.
red tees. We're not addressing the play it forward,
Thank you
but the
for-
red tees. Thanks for the clarification.
What courses again?
I'm sorry? We're looking at $25,000 to $30,000 on each one of these, Country Club, Scottsdale, and Highlands. And we've asked Daryl to give us some input on play in case we have to slice that, which one would we want to take off based on who uses it the most. Scottsdales are by far the worst as far as size and level. Country Clubs are the best out of the 3. So, just so you know.
Plus we do the renovation.
And hopefully someday we do a renovation at Country Club anyway, so it doesn't necessarily make sense to spend money that may or may not get blown up down the road.
Right.
The number 2 green at Bella Vista Country Club was mentioned. I know Daryl was out, not feeling real well, so I was going to get with Daryl. We're still going to talk about ways not to put employees in awkward positions, because that's basically what caused the issue. They try to do some customer service and get out there what the people wanted 5 minutes before the first group went off, and unfortunately the product chosen was not the best product. So just to let you know, I've worked with Golf Ops today. We will start plugging that area out next Monday. So what we did, Bella Vista Country Club had a maintenance day on the following Monday, and Kingswood was next Monday. We flipped those maintenance days so we wouldn't have to close another golf course or that hole. And then we're going to work on it during the maintenance day on Monday till 12, and then we're going to flip the golf off for the other 9. So that gives us an additional couple hours to get there on Monday, and then if we don't finish it Monday, we can flip golf the rest of the week till we get it done. Because on a par 3 like that, in play like we have, we'd be spending more time looking and visiting with y'all than getting the work done. We need to get it done. So that's how we're going to do it. So that's that report. Generally, dry conditions, and I'm going to talk a little more about that down here in a minute when I talk about the cart pass. Dry conditions in the fall like this are the worst thing for a golf course superintendent to worry about going into the winter, because that can lead to turf conditions getting worse quicker in the fall. It can lead to winter kill if you have cold winter. It can lead to late green up in the spring. We have a compounded problem with that. That's if you had hybrid Bermuda grass, you feel better about it, but with common, you won't. Common to me is, we've already had a couple 30-degree in the 30s nights, so it's green, but it's quick growing. So it's already started to get beat down. So you put that in conjunction with rounds are up 15,000 over the year, whatever. Weather's good, people are still playing. You put 4 carts in each group, you'll see why I'm going to have the conversation that I'm going to have down here in a minute, because I'm a little concerned about condition of fairways come spring. Greens aerification has been completed. We've started some leaf removal. The wind started the removal for us today because it's starting to blow it off. And then we'll start getting that out of the way so you can find your golf ball best we can. There will be some more tree work being done at various golf courses that was delayed earlier in the year, so it'll be damaged trees or large trees that are outside of the realm that's safe for my staff to do. So you'll see some work being done from now to the end of the year on tree removal and trimming. And we've also, number 6, Scottsdale, is called Trey Sycamore, I believe it is, which is 2 sycamore, right? And both of those sycamores have died. I never would have thought I would have wanted to plant 2 sycamores, and never thought I could find somebody that would do that. But we did find somebody in Highfield, and he had probably 20 or 30, and he said you'd be surprised how many of those they plant. So at any rate, we have picked out 2. They're about 4 to 6 inch caliper. They're about 15 to 20 feet high, so there will be some instant impact actually. And I was out there yesterday with Kyle and David, and we looked at the positioning of it with David's suggestions based on where the stumps are, because obviously you can't put it where it was. So he has some suggestions on where to put it. So David, I'd kind of like you to explain a little bit how you chose the spots.
Yes, should be, yeah. Nope. Nope. This one is, okay. Green light, go. There you go.
Is that working? Hello. Yeah. I had actually gone out there on Sunday to look at where we might want to put those trees after Keith had called me and said there were some available. And we'd been wanting to do something like that. That hole is kind of naked now without those 2 trees. And our options were fairly limited. You could put a bunker out there. If you put a bunker on the right side where the old big sycamore was, it's on a downhill slope. It'd be hard to see. So I don't like that idea. And the left side would be a short one that would probably catch some of those weaker golfers. We really don't want to penalize them. So I spent some time looking at it, and then Keith and Kyle and I went out there. The one on the right I want to move a little closer to the green, maybe halfway between where the old tree was and the 100-yard marker. Maybe a little bit to the right, we'll see. We're going to have to find out what kind of wiring or pipe might be in there, but still not close enough to the path so that we have a root problem that break up the path. I don't think sycamores are as bad as that as pine trees are, but that's what I want to look at. The one on the left, I want to move it back a little bit closer to the tee, maybe 5-10 yards and a little further out in the rough. And then we talked about creating a mowing pattern through there so the hole kind of flows around those 2 trees. Might get a little bit more fairway on the right, a little bit less on the left, or the other way around, depending on what we come up with. So I think I was thrilled when Keith called me to tell me we could put some sycamores back in there. I hope they're not ones that are susceptible to the blight. But time will tell us on that. But when that time comes, we've already got some flags out there, and Kyle was going to go back and check and make sure what kind of wire or pipe might be in the area. And if there is something, and if it's a problem, then we'll move the trees around if we can't move those things. Questions?
That's great.
Okay, David, thank you. No disrespect to anybody in the room, but the blight on those sycamore trees starts happening when they get about 30 or 40 years old, so I don't think anybody in here is going to be worried about that. just saying. But yeah, that will, and we're going to try to do it in November. We could do it a little sooner than that, could do it a little later than that. We will do it this year for budget reasons, but what we're doing is the guy recommends when he gets some rain out there, he'll call us and see if we've got some rain here, because if there's some moisture in the ground, your success rate is better. We have a year guarantee on them, and they were $900 a piece. So it'll be the similar kind of a machine that planted the trees on that driving range, if you remember that. It's a spade, so we have to, that's why we stay away from the stumps and the roots and all of that. So.
How tall are they?
The ones that we picked out, I'm going to say, are somewhere between 15 and 20 feet tall right now. If you get behind it, you're going to have a challenge. Yeah, it'll be an instant improvement to the hole, because it is pretty barren.
So I'll know that one on the right very well.
So with that, before I go into the Carts on Paths conversation I want to have real quick. That's kind of my general report. So I'll stop and see if anybody has any questions about what's generally going on the golf courses. Okay, hearing none, we'll go to what I've been looking forward to presenting the whole time. Carts on Paths, I go back to what I said earlier. Dry conditions are a hindrance to turf quality and health going forward. Slows up green up, gives you less to play on in the winter. We have common in most places. So right now what's happening, it's still, even where it's still green, you can water it all you want, it can rain all you want, it'll green it up, but it's not growing. So it's gonna start flaking off. We're at least 30 days early on that. So instead of getting the complaints in January and February we normally get, we're gonna get them by Thanksgiving, if not sooner, would be my thinking. We already put in working on the 2021, just like we've done in the past, where we restrict carts to pass for 2 weeks on a rotating schedule. I'm suggesting that we do something now, either along that line or another opportunity that I may have, but I would like to hear comments about whether or not you even think, because it's still not going to make it perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's going to, it may not help the playability as much as y'all would like, but it's probably going to help us come spring for sure. So I'd like to hear some comments. I know it's a negative thing, but after you tell me there's no way we're doing that, I might have an alternate for you as well.
Can we hear the alternate?
Okay, I'll give you the alternate. If you've played on some golf courses that have cool season grass in the rough and warm season in the fairway or vice versa, they will tell you to keep, like if you stay in the fairway or stay out of the fairway, right? My alternate suggestion, and I think it might be better, only because we could do every golf course every day, all the time, is tell everybody to drive in the rough whenever possible. You could drive across the fairway, you could drive down the rough, and you're gonna, the rough would be beat down, but fairways to me are more important than rough, and rough has an easier chance of coming back in the spring. The downside of that is two things. You're gonna have to discuss what you're gonna do with the blue flag people, because if we're on, we need some help. And there will be times, and we will see places that we'll probably have to rope off, where people are going to go down the left side of one, and instead of cutting back across, they're going to drive around the back of the green. They're going to go some places that we probably wouldn't like normally, but to me, it might be worth the risk of trying it, because it does, like I said, it does two things. It kind of protects what we're really concerned about, what I'm really concerned about. Lower cut grass is damaged more than higher cut grass, okay? And it would allow me to just do all of them all the time, starting whatever day you say we can do that. So there's less confusion. We won't have the excuse of, oh, I thought it was on this golf course and not that one. No, it's on all of them. And if we like it, potentially down the road, that could take the place of some of the other ways we're restricting carts now. I'm not saying that I'm willing to say that. I'm just saying it'd be a good test. So with that, I'll let the committee discuss or ask questions or whatever y'all want to do.
Sheila?
I got a couple of questions. So if you're saying drive down the rough, this is essentially a 90-degree whirl off the rough, right?
What I'm saying is if you hit your golf ball down the left side, let's say number 2 at Scottsdale,
Okay.
off the tee, you hit it down the left side. As soon as you get off the tee, you take a left in the rough before you get to the fairway when you can, and you go
Okay.
up the left side. Now, if you hit it like I do, then you play Army golf, and then you hit it to the right on the other side. I'm not saying you go all the way back around. Then you're right. Then you would just go straight across.
Yeah.
We're trying to eliminate what most people do. They get in the fairway and they drive right down the center of the fairway
Right.
the whole dadgum time.
Yep.
There's still going to be traffic in the fairway. I'm not saying there won't, but if we cut it 25%, if we cut it 50%, it's better.
So I have a second question. I'm sorry, Sue. The blue flag people, I mean, I'm on oxygen. I get a blue flag on occasion. Most of the time, there's no reason you couldn't do what you're asking with driving down the rough and so on, and with a 90-degree wolf for anybody with a blue flag. The only time that it might be a problem is near the greens.
Is,
Now, I've never, ever gone close to a green when I have my blue flag, but I understand a lot of people are. Can you rope that out so they can't get more than 30 feet from the green?
I'm not sure I heard everything you said, so
Okay,
maybe you need to,
Okay, let me try this. Is this better?
yes.
Okay. I'm handicapped, and I use a blue flag periodically.
Okay.
I don't always use it because I try not to. But when I do, there's no reason that I would need to drive all over a fairway to get to my ball when I have a blue flag. Because I can use a 90-degree rule, drive down the rough and go to my ball, go to the other side, and so on and so forth. The only time it might be an issue would be if I'm going to a green. Now, I don't park close to the greens. I mostly stay on the cart path. But I've seen people do it. Can you rope around the greens to keep people with blue flags from going closer than 30 feet to the green?
Rope it?
You know, the little,
I would like to stay away from trying to do that on 6 golf courses because it's a nightmare.
okay, I'm just,
Okay.
I mean, I'm just.
You're going to have
That's
some people that are going to
I'm-
get where they don't need to be, but you're always having that anyway. So I think it's worth a try. If we have an issue with it and we see stuff that's just, it's unacceptable, then I may come back and say, we're just going to have to restrict carts to path. Right?
Yep.
So there's some plus for the golfers to maybe try to work with us a little bit here.
So I'm thinking that maybe some sort of a hybrid approach actually might be appropriate. That if you're on the side of the fairway that has the path, you should stay on the path. Okay, I mean, so.
Yes, you could do that.
You would
I'm not suggesting you don't, but, you know, my first and main priority is try to keep it simple.
Okay, and then the other thing I'm thinking about is if you're on the far side, that maybe we treat it kind of like some of the 3 pars, that some holes that's appropriate. You know, number 2 at Highlands? The narrow one, is that
2.
Highlands? Yeah, that, I mean, that fairway is not that wide, and
Well, we don't let them get off the
oh,
path
not
there
that one.
anyway.
But there are several others like
There-
that may not be so wide that where would they go, right? But
No, I agree. There may be some that aren't appropriate. I've gone through it in my mind, and I really don't think there's anything that we're allowing carts on now that it would be a big issue. However, that's why I gave my disclaimer at the beginning, when we start to see some things, and we'll have to address them. I don't think we can solve every problem, and we can't make everybody do the right thing.
right,
We can just ask for some help.
right, because part of what I'm thinking is you can see how quickly the grass goes away just looking at what happened with Scottsdale number 2, right?
And that was during growing season.
And that was during, so you can see how quickly those roughs can go away.
Yep.
And so I think part of it is education, and then if, you know, and keeping people on the path if we possibly can. And I'm not terribly opposed to carts on path, maybe not all the time, but if you do a rotation, you know, that might be.
Just keep the 90-degree rule at all times.
Wait, but people don't follow
They
it
don't
now.
follow it.
Well,
Okay.
Did you have something, Jeff?
I was just curious, say you get into this 2 or 3 weeks with your alternative of what we're discussing, and then you say, all right, that's not gonna work. Have we done irreparable harm at that point? Or is it something you'll be able to catch and say, all right, we're just gonna have to stay carts on path no matter what?
Well, I think we're already beat down a little bit, so there's some harm already done. So I think we have a better chance of spreading traffic out and getting people to comply if we don't tell them to stay on the path. Plus, I do have to consider revenue because there's people that will not play if you're on the path. So we can't keep everybody on the path every day on every golf course. So if you think about it, what we're doing already still puts some, we get 2 weeks there. You know which, let me do it an easier way. Scottsdale fairways have always been awful in the spring. This spring, they were pretty good pretty early. You want to venture why that was? Because we were covered and closed. So carts off a path, that does make a difference. We can't close. We need to keep playing. We need to let people play golf and have fun and be able to play. So I'm looking for a way to maybe minimize it. If it doesn't do any good, I know it's not going to do it any worse. It's got to be better, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the idea that you came up with as an alternative is worth a try. And also that there are some holes where actually going behind the green is probably a better alternative than cutting across right in front of it. You know, if you, like number 10 at Highlands, where there's somewhere it's a natural flow around the back too. And so we may put some signing on those to keep them from just running across right before the.
All right. I've kind of been listening, and to get the meeting moving forward, what about if we try a month of stay in the rough, proper 90-degree, reach out to the groups and say, come on, guys, let's save those fairways, see what it does.
Well, I am fully in agreement with that, and to Keith's point a minute ago, and I know this is probably not going to sound as positive as I want it to. It's going to sound very negative, so all the golfers out there watching, please take this in a positive light. Put it in their hands. You know, we hear about the fairways every year, and we're trying to do something so we have somewhat of a fairway through this season. We don't want to put carts on path, so let's put them in their hands. And that's kind of like the flags, the blue flags, self-police. So I agree. I'm a firm believer in let's try it for a month at your discretion, whether we do it this month or start next month or whatever, and see what happens.
My suggestion is the committee votes on it, and I suggest we start sooner than later. And if that could be put into the golf thing by this Friday where we start Monday, then that's my suggestion.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move that we accept Keith's proposal to do the 90-degree drive in the roughs whenever possible and avoid fairway usage with the carts.
Second. Sheila? Second?
I'll need some,
Yeah,
I'll need some specific language for the
Yes,
notes
for
on
the
that,
notes, yes.
okay? So maybe Keith, you could write me up a couple of sentences.
Sheila, second. All in favor? All opposed?
Should we include in there to that point that it's the trial in November?
Yes.
For the month of November?
Yes, for the month of November.
And we will reevaluate it as a committee here in November, whether it continues forward that way?
Yes.
Do we don't require a board vote on this, do we? This is just within the golf department?
Just the ball,
Okay.
John. Okay. So, and I voted for Mertz too, so yay for Mertz, and Mike is not on, so no vote on Mike. All right, so we'll get that in the blast on Friday and start it on Monday. See how it goes. Cool. Thank you. Are you done, sir?
Overdone. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Daryl, golf ops.
I'll run through mine quickly. It's good to be back at work. 9 days of craziness.
Good to have you back, brother.
Thanks for my team for stepping in and managing what they did, and for the customers that I didn't get back to, I'm still getting back to them, so bear with me. I've got some news real quick. Bruce Fleming is retiring. End of this month, it's official. He's going to retire. He's been with us 11 years. He started over at Medfield as a full-timer over there. Then I moved him over here as a supervisor. He will be missed. He knows everybody. Everybody knows Bruce. But I'm going to try to get him to do some shifts every now and then to keep him busy. He's going to fish and play golf, and he's going to enjoy his retirement. So
Congratulations,
he will be missed.
Bruce. Thanks for your
So
service.
if any
brother.
of the membership are out there, and you guys, if you see him over the next couple of weeks at Country Club, congratulate him and thank him for his 11 years of service for the POA.
Absolutely.
Daryl, is there any thought of doing something special for him with regard
With-
to retirement?
I've got something planned, but with COVID, we can't have an all big get together, but I've got a little thank you for him and stuff. So some of his crew threw a little barbecue yesterday for him. So he's going to have it for the next 2 weeks of people thanking him. So he's kind of a humble guy. So we'll see how it goes. Moving on to a positive part of this, let's have a look at our rounds. 32,443. That is 18,515 over last year, year to date. 18,000 rounds over. That is crazy. It's awesome to see. We look at the breakdown. Member rounds are up 14,769, and our non-members are up 3,700. Once again, seeing our member rounds up, that is our photo IDs and all that type of stuff are out there enjoying the price difference and everything. It's great to see them out there. Driving range, I didn't break the driving range down because it gets pretty intense. But if we have a look there, we have 47,682 buckets have been sold to date or given out to date. That is 34,614 over last year.
So I think I asked this last month. So have handicaps come down in relationship to ball range balls? That's what I want to know.
It's busy, I'm just going to tell you, and it's really good to see. I've gone up and done a couple lessons, and I see new families out there playing golf. I see some guys that I haven't seen in a couple years back hitting golf balls, and they come up to me and go, "Daryl, I'm back. Got to give us a go, one more try," and that's what it's about. So the free range balls is definitely helping with the activity card. One of the things, we are staying with tee times through winter due to COVID. So winter groups will be getting their schedules tomorrow. It is tight out there, but because of the daylights, understand that there will be some early tee times, there'll be some late tee times if you're within a group. Be patient, it'll all work out. The biggest thing that my team has been faced with moving forward in winter because of COVID is frost delays. So our current policy with a frost delay is if we have a frost delay, we do a forward modified shotgun. So if we have an hour frost delay, we line up the first group and they go to the furthest spot, could be hole number 8, and you work back 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And the people that when that time actually starts, be 10 o'clock, they will be on the first tee box so they don't miss their tee time. So we put pen to paper. We looked at this. Single rider carts, we'll be out of carts within the first hour and a half. It doesn't work. There's no ways to do it. So I've included, and I'm going to share this with the group leaders, and it will be out there with everything. What we have to do is hold tee times. So basically, if you had an 8 o'clock and we have a 9:30 frost delay, that 8 o'clock moves to 9:30. Simple. That's where it is. We have to roll off number 1, single rider carts. That's what we have to do until COVID gets done. Understand, too, that there are cancelizations that happen as well. One person might say there's only 2 of us coming, so we can work that tee sheet to make it better. I'm asking the players, the players to communicate with the pro shops prior. That's going to be the be-all and end-all. You have to communicate with us. So Keith will put the frost line out there in the morning and say, frost delay till 10 o'clock. Well, that's going to be the tee time on number 1. Everybody else will slot in. We will make up as best we can through the day. And to be honest, folks, that's what most golf courses do in the United States. So that's kind of what we're going to do. I've broken it down, and we will put it out there. My staff will do as best they can, the diligence to make people get out there and play golf. Keith?
Can I give a positive to that from the maintenance end of it? Because in the past, when you had frost delays like that and you did as modified, we didn't do anything on the golf course.
Yeah.
Now we have the capability to get in front and actually set up a golf course on a weekend or during the winter. And the reason that that's a possibility is because we only have 6 full-time employees in the winter, that some of them are off. So if you have to go everywhere, we just couldn't do it, so we didn't do anything. So now we can go mow greens or change cups in front of the first group.
Thank you, Keith. And that's true. One thing we find, I've been here 10 years, and every year, this time of year, I mean, they're calling for frost on Friday. It's retraining. Did you call the frost line? They show up. Why can't I go? Nobody knew about the frost delay. call in Frost LA. We're going to put it on today's play. So check there first before you leave the home. If you can stay at home for another hour, get some coffee, and then head in, that's fine. But we will do the best we can to get everybody on that tee box on number one in an orderly fashion and keep up with pace of play as best we can. We just can't do it with the carts. It's impossible.
So I'm thinking through group play on this. And instead of, is it possible or something to have the group have a designated person that's going to be working with the golf department instead of having every foursome?
Would be the captain, the group leaders. Group leaders do a good job by letting us know who's canceled, who hasn't canceled, and especially when it comes to winter. They're really good at that. So it will fall on the group captains, just reach out. If you've got a big group, Charlie Powell, I'm going to give him a shout out, reach out to us. Say, hey, my group was teeing off at 9. Is that going to happen? No, it's 10 o'clock. So you guys move back. We'll see you then. And he just communicates with the group, and boom, we'll just line them up and go.
Okay, that might be something that
Yep.
that we might, in a group, think about having a designated person for
Yeah.
Frost Delay communication.
Okay. That's a big one, and that's kind of where we are. We have to do it, unfortunately, but I think it's get through it, and we'll massage it and make it happen. Moving on, Pro Shop merchandise. I don't know if anyone's aware. I'm going to announce it again. You can go into Pro Shops. We have everything in COVID compliant with hand sanitizer. Got to wear a mask. You can try on stuff, and it has definitely worked. Merchandise is moving. So we're so yep. Julie, you can come try on some stuff. So LT's done a great job, and we're moving forward on that. Last month we talked about it, tee times in 2021 versus shotguns. I've got some numbers. I've been collecting emails. It's died down quite a bit. I had a total of 64 emails is all I got in. When you read emails day to day, I thought I had 140, 150. But by the time I divided them out, canceled, and moved them into the different categories, we only had 64, of which 33 said shotguns, 31 said tee times. So we are still evaluating it. One thing it has come to our attention, which we knew it, it's a social aspect of it. So shotguns is what makes Bella Vista what it is, as far as the social side. It's fun. I get it. We understand it. So we want to do our due diligence. The team does. I want to visit with group leaders, and we're going to do some intensive research. Look, folks, there's no rush. We're not going to do shotguns starting tomorrow. COVID's around, and I think it's going to be around anyway through summer. Maybe we'll see where it's at. But it was important to talk about it, get the feedback from our membership, and we'll keep investigating and moving on that. Okay? And with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Alex.
Alex? That's virtual Alex.
Virtual Alex.
Virtual Alex
It's not
today.
virtually Alex, it's virtual Alex.
Thanks, guys. So we're winding down our 2020 calendar. I actually only have one event left, which is our Veterans Day tournament coming up on Veterans Day, November 11th. 2 courses for that one, Kingswood and Country Club, hoping to get both those courses full up. Hope for good weather for that one. Only other thing on the horizon is we got the finals of our 2-man summer series going on this month, and the finals of our first ever men's club championship match play. So those are all wrapping up. We're starting to get everything going for the 2021 calendar. I've been taking a lot of feedback from our tournament players, seeing likes and dislikes, even though we were going through a COVID season, strange season for tournaments. So we'll make a few tweaks to just try to improve all of our formats to make everything as fair as possible for all players throughout. The events since we last met, we had the Superintendent's Revenge, which was an absolute hit. I have never been a part of a tournament where I had so much positive feedback from players coming off the golf course. Everyone had a great time. Keith and Scott and his team, they got so creative out there. What a great day of golf everyone had. Just wanted to put that out there. We had the parent-child that was rescheduled from earlier in the summer that got rained out. Went really good. I had about the exact same number that I had before the rainouts, so real happy to get that event started in Bella Vista, and hopefully that thing is going to grow big as can be. All the parents were really, really happy with how it went. And Rallying Peak was last weekend. We had 42 teams playing across both courses and was a very good success. Great day. We raised quite a bit of money. I think about 75% more than we had raised last year. So very happy with the results of that one. And, by and large, all our tournaments were up in participation this year. Like you're seeing with just rounds of golf, everybody was out playing, having a good time. And I would call this a pretty successful year. We introduced a few new events, and they went over for the most part very well. And I've got a couple of good ideas coming for 2021. So looking forward to giving you a good first draft of a tournament program for 2021 here in the next month. So any questions on anything?
I just have a comment, Alex. I know you basically took the reins of the tournaments this year, and what a year to do it, right? But
Yeah.
I think on behalf of all the golfers in Bella Vista and the tournament golfers especially, I know Mark and I played in the two-man. We didn't fare very well. We won't be playing in the championship. Let's just say that. I think last place gets DVDs of golf lessons or something, or free golf lessons, and that's what we should get. But we had fun. But, man, major kudos to you for what you did, and especially rescheduling everything. So I think 2021, I think all the golfers are extremely excited about what you're going to put together for them. So just a big thank you from the golf committee and
I
all the golfers
appreciate it.
out there, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Can I say two things about Superintendent's Revenge Tournament?
You sure can.
One, thanks for letting us do it. And two, if you played number 18, the par 3, all those flags, we talk about ball marks, that's what those were, unrepaired ball marks on the green, okay? Where every flag was, there was at least 125 flags, and we ran out of flags.
It was a sea of red.
That is
Yeah.
that is interesting.
And then the other thing is, we always get some comments that we don't know how to put a flag straight. So we actually did some that are on 45-degree angles, so you know what a crooked flag looks like.
That's great.
I do want to make one comment. Recently, for the Alzheimer's tournament, we were given an award for the Show Me the Money category. Our golf tournament was the highest donation in the state of Arkansas and Missouri.
That's
For
great.
all the longest day events.
That's great.
So
Good
thank
deal,
you to all
Susan.
those
Good
guys
job.
who helped us with that.
Anything else for Alex? All right, Alex, you have the next few months off. You don't have too many tournaments.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, buddy. Tom, I see you're virtual.
How are you today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're focusing on budgets right now. That's our main focus. We got to get those submitted pretty soon. All the department heads have been working really hard on that. Also, regarding activity card sales, I've been talking about how we've been doing well with that, and we're now up 44% over prior year. So just to continue to be outstanding. This is very well received by our membership. So things are going well. So our focus will be on budgeting and over the next several weeks. Any questions?
You get that 2x4 out of the wall?
Right now I'm down at my daughter's house in Austin and doing a lot of daddy-do projects, and we'll be back at work bright and early Monday morning to harass Daryl.
Anything for Tom? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Board liaisons. Jan is on. Miss Mary's on. We got Mr. Brandenburg and Mr. Wiltshire here. Anybody?
I don't have anything.
Okay. David? D squared? Who's D squared? Is there anybody out there, do we know? Thank you, Tom. Yeah.
While we're waiting.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd just like to thank Jan for sending in the information about all the gold tee.
Yep.
Markers. Again, I think that her involvement in that is part of what got that moving and done in this year.
Yep.
So thanks, Jan.
Yeah, thanks, Jan. That's good. Nope, nobody out there? All right. There's no old business. A couple new business items. One of the members talked to the other day, and I personally think it's a good idea. Now, I'm no expert, but One of the requests was a 50-yard marker on the driving ranges for wedges, for short game. If that is possible to do. Comments?
I don't have a problem with it. At one stage, we talked about doing the little baskets that sit out there, but that's no go because everybody goes, hey, you have to go pick them out of those baskets. So the stake in the ground, I'd have to get with Rob and Kyle and Greg. I got to get with Greg. Oh dear. So, but I'm willing to take that on if Keith's good with that. Talking with the guys, it's up to him. My guys can work around it. It does zone in the skills a little bit, but.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't see it being a problem.
Is that something a lot of people want?
It helps the games, the 50-yard shots. It definitely does. Whether it be a sand wedge or for some of our membership a 3-wood, it just depends.
Don't talk about Hendren like that. He's sitting right here. And put it to the right.
I am starting to feel better. I'm back.
I know, right?
Yeah, well, I like that idea. That's something that we could possibly do.
Should be inexpensive, I would think.
Be a good winter project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Daryl, would you have to put it from the forward tee box? Driving range?
You measure them from wherever. I mean, you would. That's a good question, Phil. That's up to professionals.
If you're using the back tee,
it could be a 75.
It could be a 75
It could be 75 yards out there.
Yeah, I would keep it probably from the middle of the tee box.
I think you would just go where the 100 is and just measure 50 back, because they're all measured that way. So they're all
That's
the
fine.
same. from
That's
the
fine.
Same spot, so when you go and
Yeah.
measure off, you know how far.
Okay. That's why you do what you do.
So I guess we need to make a motion and second and vote. So anybody want to make a motion to add 50-yard marker? Approximately 50-yard marker, might be 52, might be 56, might be 49. 50-yard marker at each of our 3 driving ranges. Motion.
I so move.
Susan, second? Mark? All in favor? Me and Gary? Mike Houston, no vote. All right, so we'll put that on the winter project deal. It's a good one. Dress code policy. I think this is something that we need to look at. Obviously, nothing needs to be done on it today, but I think with the change in styles and some of the change in what we have in our own pro shops, I think our dress code policy might be a little bit dated and needs to be a little bit more refined. My opinion. I know there's some others out there that think the same thing. And I think it may be something that we start to look at now, communicate with the golfers that you golf with, the golf groups, et cetera, and maybe come back and look at that as a first of the year kind of policy change that we look at doing. Yes, ma'am.
Can we get a copy of the dress code?
Yes, I will send a copy of it. As a matter of fact, I was going to have one and I didn't, but I will send one out to the committee for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. So,
So we're going to talk about that in the December meeting and the January meeting?
I think we start talking about it in December, and then we look at refining it in January maybe, and then voting on it in February, or if we have to go to February. But make sure we get it before spring. Daryl, go ahead.
So and the reason that is too is we just starting to see some of the new lines that are coming in for 2021. Some of the companies have cut back. They normally have 5 lines. They now got 2, and they got different stuff happening. So that'll give LT to give an input on that as well as we go through. We will not be going to the PGA show this year. So we got to do everything via Zoom and kind of look at the new products, and then we can get back.
So are the changes primarily sleeves on women's clothing and the length of skirts?
Well, I think it's heavier. I'm assuming it's going to end up being heavier on women's clothing just because there's more options. I've seen Mark in a skirt, and it's not pretty. So I think it's going to be more on the ladies' side of the thing. But I also think tightening up some of the other older T-shirts and collared shirts and just some of the different things. LT definitely needs to be involved in that, so I'll bring her in whenever we need her to come in. So we'll get of what the dress code says now, and then everybody can kind of look at it, and then we can talk to fellow golfers and talk to LT with the new apparel and go from there.
Okay, because it's reasonably broad, but in my mind, maybe not broad enough, but,
There's
okay.
some opportunities. There's definitely some opportunities.
Yeah.
There's some holes. So we'll start that. And like I said, and when is I know the PGA show, I know you're not going, but are they doing it virtually? Will she be doing her buying in January? Okay. All right, perfect.
So are we gonna disallow hoodies?
Hoodies?
No hoodies on our golf. Bill Camp.
If you actually watched the BMW Classic this weekend, the winner had a hoodie on that's made by Adidas Golf.
Yeah,
That's why I brought that up, because there were several big pieces on the different internet websites about the hoodies and their clubs that definitely disallow. I don't really care if somebody wants to wear a hoodie. If it's a nice looking sweatshirt, I don't care if it has a hood or not. And our winters around here are cold enough that there've been times I wish I'd have had it.
Right.
right. Yeah, what's the difference between a hoodie and a hat, you know?
And then those are some of the fine lines. That's the type of discussion we're getting ready to get into.
Very popular in women's apparel right now, okay?
And then lastly, for new business, if anybody has any other questions
I do
on dress code,
not a dress code, but another topic, maybe.
go ahead.
I just want to kind of open an idea, again, probably for discussion later. I was thinking about the success we've had at Brittany with, there is basically free golf, and the increase that we're seeing in rounds there. And I was looking also at the rounds at Burkesdale, and I was just wondering if we may want to consider doing some marketing changes around Burkesdale. First, about the price, maybe lowering the price down a little bit, and also really marketing it as a 9-hole course so we can get it on online for tee times as opposed to an 18-hole. I mean, right now you can't book it online because we're concerned about the switchover. And what I'm thinking is change our point of view and really think about it as a 9-hole course. Because what I'm thinking of is, you look at the rounds at Burkesdale and they are falling way off. And I think a lot of it's because people can't sign up online. Okay? And plus the price is very high in relatively, because it's the same price as a regular 9-hole course, right? If we got maybe the price down to $15 or something.
course.
Well, but the reason the pricing, that you have the pricing at more than half price is because you're basically taking up an 18-hole tee time for a 9-hole round, right? But here, you're not really doing that. If you make it, just think about it as a 9-hole course. Maybe there's some room there because we have a lot of people at Brittany that are playing golf and they're getting ready to graduate to longer courses. And I think it would be more attractive to have them graduate to Burkesdale than taking up an 18-hole slot at some of the other courses. So just a thought about changing our marketing approach maybe a little at Burkesdale to get those rounds up a little bit more.
Okay.
Jason,
Yes?
with regard to the dress code, you just said that LT is going to be doing her buying in January. Maybe we need to do the first conversation next month, so we have a final conversation in December if she's buying in January.
Well, what I mean by her buying in January is to see the new styles that are coming out, because we need to adjust the dress code to two ways. One, to fit our membership, and two, to fit what the styles are. And one of those is collarless shirt
it.
for men.
Got it.
So it kind of goes both ways, Sheila.
But those are allowed now.
Well, they're not in the dress code. No, in the official dress code, no. But we allow people on the course with them.
It has to be. You have to either wear a collar or sleeves.
For a female. For a male, it's a collar.
There's no difference.
Is there no difference?
There's no difference.
The ladies is where we're seeing the biggest deal.
Right.
The lady spends $80 on a Nike top, Nike Golf. It says Nike Golf Pro Shop.
Doesn't have a collar.
And somebody says you can't play golf in that. Now we, behind the counter, are an issue.
Right.
That's why we need to look at it.
Right, I understand.
And we will only see the new lines in January, but let's start looking at, we've already been looking at this for the last year to see the transition of the fashion world.
Anything else before we go to the last one, which is time to change over to early in the morning? It's my favorite time. Not really. Because most know I am not a morning person.
Since I have no history,
Yes, ma'am.
why do you meet that early in the wintertime?
So we can play golf.
So some can play golf and some can work.
So what happens with the daylight being short and tea times right now, summer you can tee off early, winter you can't, so you'll miss the meetings.
Yeah.
So we go to morning and then everybody can get on the golf course by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And so I do not mess it up like I did the 4 and 4:30. It is 8:30 is when we normally go. That's correct, right, Susan?
I believe so, yes, because we changed it to be 8:30 instead of 8.
Yeah, 8 was not working. You be quiet. No, 8:30 is when we've done it in the past.
6:30, get it in right after you run.
Yeah, right after we run, yeah. Yeah, we'll ride our bikes here, Mark. That's what we'll do. We'll be here at 6:45. I don't think the pub on the way here there opens that early. So we need a motion to move our winter meeting time starting next month, which is November, and we go through March.
So moved.
Jeff moved, Mark, and all in favor? Yep. No opposed. So starting next month, we will be bright and early at 8:30 in the morning. I heard the chairman of the board, David Brandenburg, is going to have donuts and coffee for us every morning. Our next meeting is November 11th, which is, isn't that Veterans Day? Is that Veterans Day? All right, perfect. At 8:30. Is there anything else for Keith, Darrell, myself, the board, liaisons, anything? Nope. Meeting adjourned.